Hey, are you ready? It's okay, because I'm not. Welcome to the Say Michael podcast. Hey, welcome. Welcome to the Say Michael podcast. One man's attempt at business, family, and comedy. Welcome to episode number 11. This is episode 11 to the Say Michael podcast, and this is an exciting one because we have a lot to talk about today. We're talking about a few things, and we're going to kind of hit the whole gamut of, just daily life of what's happening. I would like to say, if for any reason you are not happy with this particular episode, don't blame me. Blame Mike you walk by. Because, and if you want to find that guy to blame him, you can find him at, I want to be like Mike, spelled very difficultly, on Instagram or Revel Realty. And, as I'm preparing for this podcast, he ends up, giving me a call, and, we're just catching up, but we end up being on the phone for like 2 hours. When you're having a 2-hour real talk, it's just about whatever's going on. Man, it's difficult to break away from that, and I knew I had really important things to do. I really understood that, I had a podcast that I needed to record and things to tend to, but instead I chose to have a conversation, which I also thought was important, and that conversation, took about 2 hours, and that 2 hours took away from my preparation time for this episode. So again, if it sounds a little spotty, a little shaky, not all the way there, and, you want to quit listening because of this, don't blame me. Blame him, But, all in all, it's all good that I'm not fully prepared, because guess what? Your boy is still flossing. Your boy's still flossing day and night. I'm flossing each tooth day and night, making sure no cavities hit the grilly, because I'm going to keep these pearly whites clean. And just so you know, if you're also flossing day and night, just know that flossing doesn't guarantee that you will not have cavities, but it will help prevent cavities, but it does not guarantee. So even though you're doing something that's good, doesn't mean that bad won't come of it. So yeah, thank you. Today has been a pretty interesting day, because I woke up this morning to a text at 7 a.m. that one of my employees, had an emergency surgery to go to for his mother in Oklahoma. Mind you, his first appointment was at 7:30 a.m. Yes, this is kind of my life. And then sometimes you think, why is this the life you chose, Michael? It's so difficult. Why don't you do something easier, like fix bicycles, or, clean windows, or, I guess sell crushed cans. That's just not. I don't know why I chose this. It's so difficult, because I got this text. I got this text at 7 a.m. So I asked, can you give me a call? Gave me a call, and I said, hey, what's going on? He told me about how, he wanted to be with his family at a time where his mother was receiving surgery. And I understand emergencies, because I'm fully understanding that way, because emergencies do happen. But man, it sure does put your boy in a rut, and you have to be understanding. That's kind of one of those brain teasers, where you have to prepare yourself for, I guess, somebody or something that is unexpected, but then still act professional, still act as if, and what professional, how I see it, is acting fake, you know, where I was seriously concerned about, him getting to or being with his family, but then I kind of didn't appreciate the last minuteness of the whole thing, and it's not a time to kind of talk about it. So it was no biggie. But man, if I had a little bit more time to prepare, I had to last minute change people's appointments and work with one less guy when, it rained. It rained yesterday, and today and the next day are completely sunny. So I'm like super duper slammed. I need more employees than I already have. So the fact that even one person, called out an emergency 25 minutes before his first service, this is my life, but I love it because it's very rewarding. It has rewarded me with opportunity to invest and operate the barber school, have a beautiful savings for me and my family, an opportunity to invest, a way to connect and build relationships with people within the community, provide a service that's helpful. There's a lot of, silver linings to this particular business. And the fact that we've been doing it, we're coming on the 13th year this upcoming July. And every year, I always think, okay, this time on our anniversary, this is what we're going to do. But guess what? I don't do anything for the anniversary. It's almost like a quiet, silent anniversary. And this time I want to do something. It's the 13th year that we've been in business for the Water Boys. And I need ideas. If you do have any ideas for what we should do, I don't know, shirts, party. I don't know if 13 makes it special, but the Water Boys is about to be a teenager, and man, they grow up so fast, they grow up so fast. At first, they're completely dependent off you, and eventually, they start to crawl, walk on their own, and now the Water Boys are starting to become a man, its own man, and this is the luxury of having a 13-year-old because, they could kind of do for themselves. They can make their own breakfast, and that's kind of where the stage is I'm at right now with this business, is that it's starting to get out of adolescence and starting to go into adulthood, and it's starting to do things on its own, and it's starting to have its own character, and I love it. But sorry, I still have a light cough from a few weeks ago. I even went to the doctor, just like, why did I have this light cough? I almost thought I had pneumonia. It's funny because before I went, the first question they asked me was like, have you traveled anywhere? I said, no, I don't have corona. I don't have coronavirus, y'all. But yeah, they said, have you traveled anywhere? I said, no. And they checked me. They said everything was all good. And they let me on my merry way. But I still have a light cough. I'm about 96%. Last week I was about 91%. The week before that I was about 83%. And then the week before that, the original week, I was about 28%, So those are the percentages I was at, but I do have a nice little update for you all. So as you already know, if you listen to the last previous podcast, Glenn, one of my newest employees, unfortunately disappeared during a work break, at work, because that day, which it was a busy day, he had, 3 cars left in the middle of a work break. He disappeared. And then next, we didn't know where he was. Got the call that, he ended up being in jail, as you probably already know. And I put this clip of that particular part of the podcast on all the little networks, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And somebody commented, said, love this story. Here's a pro tip. And they put a little link there. And what the link was like a criminal search for an employee, not employee, but a criminal search for anybody. But I didn't pay any attention. I just thought it was just some kind of weird, I guess, link that she put there on accident. I saw it said search criminal record or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, I'll use that in the future, for anybody who, ends up going to jail, or if I need to do like a background check on them or anything like that. And then, so this is a week and a half ago that, he's been, that he went to jail, and, we don't really know what happened except for the fact that somebody's trying to take his wallet, and that he was tussling with this person, fighting to get this guy to not take his wallet, and the police took them both to jail. So 2 days ago, I was just a little bit, had a little bit time to spare, and they just kind of hit me. I said, let me hit that link, and see what happens if I put his name in, So I put his name in, and I typed it, and I hit search. Boom. His mugshot popped up. I said, whoa, this thing does work, right? So I'm like, okay, I wonder if it's going to tell what happened, Because from all I know is that, they're trying to get together, little guala, little cash to get him out of jail on bond. And I even, like, his sister called to get his last check. And then I was like, do you know what happened? And she said, I have no idea, which I thought was peculiar. And just to say, brownie points for me, because when the mother was telling me the story about him being jacked, during him trying to buy himself chips and a drink, I just didn't fully believe the story. But when I clicked, his mugshot, I guess he's in jail right now for aggravated robbery. Whew. Aggravated robbery. So I guess I think he was the one taking the wallet. I think he was the one taking someone's wallet. I don't think he got his wallet taken. I think he was the one taking someone's wallet. And then I saw that it was aggravated. So I'm like, he used a deadly weapon. And somewhere in the back of my head, I'm like, I hope he didn't use any, like, my supplies to do this. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if he used like our cleaning brush, while he was on, I don't know. I know that's not the case, but it's unfortunate, because I was like, whoa, he's in there for that. I said, and then even more wild, that's his first offense, So I don't know what happened, but yeah, I think he was doing the robbing during his lunch break. I mean, who has time like that? Man, that's pretty crazy. That that's what happened. But I want to tell everybody, that I appreciate everybody who gives me feedback, and everyone who's been listening. I just want to say I appreciate you all, because we're on my 11th episode. Really, there's 13 total, but it's 11th actual episode, and all the feedback I've received, both positive and negative, I appreciate it, because it shows that you're listening. But one thing that's a little bit confusing is what people like and what people don't like. It seems like people like and don't like the same things, and I'm just going to keep being me and keep trying to be authentic and keep trying to bring whatever it is that you people who like it like, but it's hard to tell, if you have feedback, give it to me. You could give it to me in any way. You could go leave it on, in a review. I don't care if you even leave a negative review. Just leave a review. Just say something. Tell me that you're listening, because apparently this thing keeps growing, and I don't know why. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm doing, but it keeps growing, and I'm grateful and appreciative at the growth. But who's listening, man? Who's out there? Whose ears is this touching? Because a lot of the feedback I get, sometimes, I look, even if it's like bad feedback, some feedback I don't take very well, because anything that's your art or anything that you do, you're gonna take it personal, but I'm not gonna hold it against you. I appreciate it all. Just because I don't take it well doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. And I don't want to get too much feedback in my head to where I'm trying to like adjust, because someone told me, I should move my hands more, when I'm talking, like move it when I'm like, and I'm thinking for 45 minutes, I'm just going to move my hands and just think, okay, that's going to make, like more of a visual impact when people listen. Or maybe move my hands will make sure that, people are paying attention and that the picture is not very stagnant. But see, that's why I felt that, I have a candle that's lit in the background. I felt that was something that, kind of created a little bit of a, I guess a movement. But, that's one. Another one, it's about, I guess some people feel that, my energy and how I talk in conversations and how I talk on this podcast are different. And it's true, that when it's just me talking solo and me not bouncing, talking to somebody else, I sound different. I don't know, but I feel like this is me, I feel like it's me. I don't know who am I trying to be, some people love the guests when I put guests on, they love that, and some people like it when it's just me, it's literally like a 50-50, like, oh, I'm not really a big fan of the guests, but when it's just you, love that. And some people said, when it's just you, it's cool, but when you bring on guests, man, love that. Man, make up your mind. I need because eventually this is going to be, and when I always say that, I know you probably don't believe me, but eventually this is going to be whatever you see as your biggest, most favorite podcast. Because right now, some people compare my beginnings to someone's right now endings or whatever it might be, because they'll say, oh, on the Joe Budden podcast, their podcast, it has it like this, or someone might bring up, like a sports podcast or something like that and what they love about that. But, just understand that, I'm still early in the game. I'm just a couple months in, 11 episodes, technically 13. And, this in time will turn into whatever it turns into based on improvements, understanding, open-mindedness and just changes needed. Because, someone will say, oh, the way that Joe Budden's podcast, they, when they have, they have a format where it's like this and for like that. And I'm like, okay, did you listen to Joe Budden's first, second, third, fourth episode? Because those weren't good. Those are just him and just some random person that came in. It's nothing close to what he has right now. Joe Rogan, have you heard his first few? His first 10, his first 20? Have you heard his first 100? They're much different than what he does right now. So, while I appreciate all feedback, but just be a little understanding that, I'm still starting something new and that it's not going to be, like, at least right now, the finalized look and product of all these highly produced, podcasts, So just be fair and just understand that. I just feel like that's maybe a misunderstanding because I don't take it personal, but I do think that, yeah, I'm still starting. But again, if y'all want more of anything, tell me what y'all want more of, if you want less of anything, let me know what y'all want less of, and another thing, same thing also happens in comedy because I've been doing my stand-up comedy since last August. So I guess I've been doing that one longer than this podcast. And some people do the same thing there. They say, oh, the way that, Kevin Hart does this, or the way that, Dave Chappelle, like if you want to, like they try to compare what I'm doing now to all these big greats. And I'm like, if you're going to compare anything I do with them, like show their first year, and I've seen Kevin Hart's first year, and Kevin Hart's first, his name originally was Kev the Bastard. He changed that. And so I just want people to be understanding that, where all these people that they could compare or they look at as a measurement to seeing where I'm at, just know that, if I'm at a starting point, compare me to other people's starting point, And that's a way to kind of go about seeing where I'm at, But again, it's always much appreciated. But I also have, some a small victory that I would love to share with you. Because again, you have to remember about the small victories and how important those are. The small victory that I had last week was actually it was a few days ago. A customer called and they called me and they said, "Hey, I would like to get car wash services. I want to book for this time." And I said, "Sure." So got all the information, understood, and then I said, "Okay, we're gonna need to have your credit card, to hold for this appointment." Now, mind you, when a customer books on their own online, they have to hold their card. They don't have to prepay for the service, but they can if they like. But most people just kind of put the card in to hold the appointment. But and that's to keep us safe, because a lot of times, or in the past, we would go out to a customer's home, and if they don't show up, or there's a miss or anything like that, where it's a no call, no show, whatever for that appointment, we're out of luck, and there's no way to put any type of consequence for the customer for a blank trip to their home or to their appointment. So that securing that credit card kind of gives us a little bit of insurance to make sure that, in case the customer, doesn't fulfill their side of the deal, that, we could still, I guess, recoup any type of loss that we've made, whether it be for the detailer's time or detailer's gas or anything like that. So, basically I said, we would need to put your credit card. And he says, "Oh man, I just got my new credit card. I don't really feel like comfortable, giving that off the phone. It's not that I don't trust you guys, even though it's basically what he's saying. I just don't want to put that, and then he kind of held it kind of like a dangling carrot. Like, I guess I just won't get the appointment anymore. I guess I just go somewhere else, and I guess I just catch y'all another time." And I was just like, you know what? We could go ahead and, it's not a big deal. We'll just take it, the credit card. But then in my head, I was like, what are you doing? You're changing your standard for this particular customer, and you don't even know this particular person, and they could kind of play you low key. So I went ahead and said, "Sure, well, don't worry about it." And then at the last second, I changed my mind because I just couldn't do it, and I said, "I'm sorry, sir. It won't let me process your appointment. So you're gonna have to. I could send you the links for you to book on your own, but you're gonna have to put a credit card in that way, or you could, let me know and I could hold it for you right now." And then he said, "No, man, thank you." And we got off the phone. And then for the next few minutes, I was kind of like, troubled, by it, because, if you know me, it's hard for me to say no to money, which is not a good thing, but it's also not a bad thing. And, he, wasn't going to this is a time where I'm trying to practice saying no, because I don't want to bend too much. Sometimes I do things, within the business that, aren't helpful for our growth. It might just postpone a lot of the things that, are keeping us, that are holding us back, So I said, let me hold to the standard. And, by him saying, no, I won't get the service, it kind of put me in a kind of a weird mood. And I just kept kind of justifying in my head saying, it's okay. It's fine. I prevented a situation from happening. It's all good, But what did end up happening is that he called me back like 5 minutes later and he says, "Hey man, you know what? I'll go ahead and do it." And I felt really good about that, because I was beating myself up the fact that, I told a customer no, and, I didn't take in service. And the fact that he called back and said, "You know what? I'll just go ahead and do it," shows that, like, respect the standard, and the fact that he called back and understood what it was, it worked out just because I held my own. I took up for myself when it came to the standard of the business, and he complied, so it worked out. And that was a little small victory because, you have to know that, life isn't just about the big wins. It's also about the small little victories, and today, it was a challenging day for me. I didn't have very many victories at all today because, as I had the employee call out, and then also, Kenzo, our youngest son, was testing me this evening, because when we dropped him off at daycare with Idol this morning, my older son, our older son, me and my wife, and Kenzo was acting up really, a lot this morning. My wife told me because she dropped him off, and she was talking about how when she dropped him off, he was like, hitting this huge tantrum. Mind you, he's 3, so he's hitting this huge tantrum about now. I don't know what it really was, but she had to calm him down because he's bringing a lot of attention. He wanted to go home because he was a little under the weather yesterday, and he got to stay home, and I guess he loved that. And then now that he has to go back to school, he really got, I guess, upset because he'd rather have been at home. But hey, you're better now, bro. You're better. So now you got to go. And, so when she calmed him down, everything went well. It was all good. So then, I was picking him up today, and I must say God was testing me because I was truly tested. When I picked him up, Idol, ran out, hey, daddy, big hug. And then Kenzo hug, oh, daddy, hug, boom. So I was like, all right, cool, let's go grab your stuff. So I grabbed, Idol's binder, and I'm clocking them out, so everything's all good. And then before we're leaving, Kenzo says, I want to get my bed. I said, what? I want my bed. I was like, your bed. And, for those who don't know, their bed is their, like, where they take a nap on. They have these little knapsacks or whatever. And every Friday we take those home to wash, and we bring those back on Monday for a fresh new week. And today's Tuesday. So when he says, I want my bed, I was like, no, you don't get your bed until, Friday. So he starts getting really upset, and I'm like, hold on. Let's go find where your bed is so we could go get this, and, we go to it, and I told him to show me, and his bed or knapsack is with 10 other kids' knapsacks. So I was like, see, you leave it here. Everyone else left it here. And then we're leaving. As we're trying to leave, he starts like, crying even louder, so much so that people were looking like, oh, is everything okay? Did something happen? I was like, no, he's just upset because he wants his bed. And they're like, oh, well, I thought that's on Friday. Yeah, I know. So as we're walking out the door, he kind of stumbles a little bit and trips over Idol. And then he falls on the ground. He kind of over dramatizes the whole thing and just like lays on the ground. He's just screaming like, ah! I was like, oh man, he's really being tested, And then, I put him in the car. He wants to open the door on his own, and that's another test, because it's so difficult for him to try to open the door. I mean, it's just, man, So then he opens the door, put him in, pack him up. We're on the way. I got to go pick up, some towels on the way home to bring to the location. And as I'm going there, less than, I guess, women on the road, he's like, I need to go potty. I said, you need to go potty? You can't hold it real quick? And he says, no, I need to go potty right now. I was like, Kenzo, hold it real quick. We're about to, and he starts screaming that he needs to go potty. So I pulled over real quick. I hurried up, went to the back. And mind you, this is all happening at the end of the day, me trying to prepare and do everything I need to for the day, or for the end of the day. And I pull over, open the door, and right on the side, this is where I kind of pulled over where our park was. And I'm like, okay, go ahead. You're going to go potty on the side of the car. Not number 2, number 1 for anybody who cares. And he didn't need to, it wasn't happening. So then I said, okay, you don't need to. And he's like, I said, no, I said, do you need to go potty? He said, no. So I said, stop playing. So then I put him back in the car. And as I packed him. I'm coming back around. He starts crying again. I said, what? He said, I need to go potty. I was like, I took him back out, did it again. He didn't. And I said, you're being bad. Why are you being like this? And I put him back in the car and I said, no more crying because you don't need to go potty. I said, let us get home so we can go eat. Are you hungry? And he said, yeah, I'm hungry. I said, great, because we got pizza rolls, and that's going down. So, by the time we get home, he wants me to cut his food. It's just a long story of all these different type of things of him testing and crying and not being able to like fully communicate like what's going on, because he's a 3-year-old, and 3-year-olds are, very difficult human beings. But it's okay because it was definitely a good day, and if so far, that you're not, for some reason, I'm hoping that this episode is good, because I just feel like it's a little bit on the unprepared side, but it's okay because if you're going to blame anybody, for, me not being fully prepared or not being ready for this, I told you, blame Mike You Walk By, because when he called, now I'm trying to remember if okay, just so anybody knows, when the hard part, this is about another behind the scenes. This is like super behind the scenes. Okay. This is like my third take of this particular episode 11, because the first two were all over the place, So if you think this one's all over the place, imagine the first two. You'll never hear those. And, when you do episodes, like let's say, like I'll be literally, 20 minutes in, 30 minutes into a podcast episode, and then like figure out that I did it all wrong. And then I'll say, okay, let me do another one. Right. And then I'll do that one. I'll say, okay, let me start that one. And then I'm like, let's say I mess up something on that one for any reason, like today. And I said, let me do another one. And then when I do the third one, it's hard to remember what I said and didn't say, because in each one, they're kind of a little bit different than the previous one. So let's say I talked about apples in the first one. That means that I talked about apples in the second one, apples in the third one. So then if I'm talking, I hope this is not confusing, but if I'm talking and I'm 30 minutes in and I said, did I mention apples? You know what I mean? Like, cause this is a part of what I want to talk about. Did I mention apples? Cause I'm like, I remember saying it twice, but I don't remember if I said it in this like particular episode. So then it becomes even more confusing, and you go down this whole little twilight zone of what did I say and what did I say it in? It's kind of confusing. It's kind of weird. I don't know, but I hope that you like this one, because, I sometimes I think, which I don't want to say out loud, because sometimes I don't want to jinx anything, but it's like, as much as this podcast has been growing, and because of you, anybody who's listening, because it's growing, it's kind of like, why is it growing? And I don't want to like mess it up. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be good, but by the time I mess it up, because I don't know if that's like the perfectionist in me thinking like it needs to be great and, all the time. But, I'm thinking, like, just don't mess it up. And this, every episode I think, oh man, I messed up badly, like episode 10. And it's weird because each episode, you don't know what is going to be good, because the ones that I thought were literally the most terrible, like, okay, one of them, so, episode number 7, Signs of an Impoverished Mind. I said, right after I recorded, I said, terrible. I'm going to re-record it. And, I didn't get a chance to re-record it. I put it out there And I was just kind of just preparing myself. I just kind of crossed my finger. I said, man, the backlash is going to be crazy. People are going to say, oh, so terrible. And the next thing you know, I'm hearing, man, that's my favorite episode. Oh, that's my favorite episode. Episode 7 is my favorite episode. I was like, whoa, okay. And that just kind of turned everything around. See, the same thing happened, in episode 10. Because when I was supposed to read it, I was working so much that day that the time I'm prepared to get ready to do it, I end up falling asleep. And then I woke up literally in the middle of the night. I woke up around like 2:30, 3 o'clock a.m., and I was like, I forgot to record the podcast. So I was just like, kind of, shake my head, wake up. I'm just kind of waking up. I'm just tired, grab some water, put everything together as far as like the recording, I use my phone. And then I went and I hit record, started recording. And then I was like, I did like a quick little run through just to make sure everything was okay and that everything makes sense. And then boom, I recorded it. I didn't feel like it was like I said everything I needed to say. Felt weird about it. I said, man, I'm not gonna put this out. I'm not all the way up, I'm not sharp like I need to be. This is like, I fell asleep and I just woke up and I said, man, I just went ahead and did it. But then, the response I got to that was, wow, that was so good. That was my favorite episode. I was so inspired by the episode. And then I'm thinking, is it whatever I say that's good? Is it whatever I say that sounds good? Or is it that it needs to be a certain way? Because the ones I really put my time into, no one cares about those. It's kind of weird, There's some that like my lowest listened episode, the one that like for some reason I thought everyone was gonna listen to, was Hot Summer Special, and I think that's episode 3. And Hot Summer Special, is the lowest listened one, and that's how I that's a story, or that's an episode about how I started, the Water Boys. And I feel like, is the Hot Summer Special, is it the name that maybe people don't like? Is it the description? Because I said the description was, it's a love story about the ups and downs that I went through from starting my first business. So I'm thinking that seems interesting. I would want to listen to why the ups and downs of someone starting their own business, Like, I don't know. That's how that's just how I think. But maybe the name or the title, Hot Summer Special, was too ambiguous, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I just hope that you just enjoy everything that I put out, because it's hard being a perfectionist, and like, I don't want to use that word, like recklessly, because some people use words like, oh, I'm OCD, but really not OCD, but I am somewhat a perfectionist, because it's hard to, like, be okay, and feel great about like something, because I feel like it could just be just a little bit perfect. Like if I go on stage, there's sometimes where I know, okay, I did really well on stage, and that's okay. So I can't say I'm overly obsessed about being perfect, but there's sometimes where I go up and everyone's like, you did really well. And I'm like, I could have did this. I forgot to say that. I didn't say this. And I overthink everything. And, it just becomes like some kind of, like I lose being present and being happy about something that is made up, because if you really break it down about this podcast, and whether you break it down about comedy or, business or whatever, all this stuff that we have right now, it's just all pretty much random ideas that are just made up and an attempt, so, that's again, something that, is happening behind the scenes, but again, I want everyone to know that, if there is something that I could do better, look, I don't know. Sorry. Maybe I'm just rambling. I don't want to be rambling. I really want to give you the points that you need to hear. So here's the last one I want to give you. Okay. So, we're trying to figure out we want to hire a new instructor for the barber school. And, this is for, because, it's growing and we want to, have someone additional. And then we got somebody who lives in Lufkin. Lufkin, Texas is about, I guess 4 hours from Dallas. And I don't know what the habit is of people thinking, like, let me apply for a job that's out of my city or out of my state or whatever, and I'll move there if I get the job. That don't work. I don't know why people attempt to think like, if you guarantee me a job, I'll move down there. You can't just like up and move. You know what I mean? Like, if you up and move and everything, like your whole life is in another place, that means that when something goes wrong wherever you upped and moved to, you just can go back home. So because someone said they want to work and they come from Lufkin, Texas, and their whole family's there, they born and raised there, and they said, hey, I'll move to Dallas, if I could get the job, and they want to interview for it. So we're going to take them for an interview on Monday. But then I'm kind of thinking maybe we need to cancel this interview because you might be wasting their time. The first one of the questions he asked is, how much do apartments cost in Dallas? He has no idea about anything in Dallas, And I just feel like just uprooting and trying to move. I feel like if you live outside of the city that you're trying to work in, at least far outside the city, at least like if you live in Houston and you're trying to work in Dallas, you might as well live in Florida, because it's still not in the city, So, we're taking on this interview, and I'm kind of debating whether it should be a cancellation, of the interview so we don't waste each other's time. Or if you take the interview and just see like, okay, these are our concerns, what are you going to do about it? But, they'll say anything. Anybody will say anything to get a job, So who knows if that's authentic? So that's kind of what we're thinking about right now when it comes to bringing somebody on, for the barber school. But, man, there's a lot of things I need to get tighter on, like I told you, the cash receptor on a vending machine is all good for the vending machine at the barber school. But the snacks are starting to deplete, got to fill them up with snacks, man. And I got to go and, I can't just put the snacks I already got. I have to go to Sam's, grab all the stuff at Sam's, buy it up, bring it over there, fill it up, a certain time. And, when I'm kind of starved for time, it kind of, it's, those peripheral things, those little things on the side to do are just a little bit difficult, But, I really want to appreciate you all for being patient with me on this episode. I do plan on definitely being more prepared in the future. And I'm glad that you joined me. I just want to make sure that I got this out because I can't keep doing it over and over and over, trying to make it perfect. Sometimes I just gotta do it and not dwell on what happened. I'm prepared for any L, but I'm ready to win. So again, I appreciate you for listening. I appreciate you for joining me on this episode number 11. I would like for you to go on to any social media. You can follow me at Say Michael, or you can leave a review, 5-star if you love it. You can leave it 1-star if you don't like it. I don't matter. Just give your feedback. Let me know what you like and what you don't like. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Right now, I'm at 69 subscribers. I mean, that's cool because, I just started from zero, a month and a half ago, or 2 months ago, but I would like for you to support in any way you can. If there's someone you can share this podcast with, please share it with them. This is a real deal behind the scenes entrepreneur journey to trying to achieve new things. And again, like I said in the beginning, this is one man's attempt. You know, I'm not always going to be perfect. This is an attempt at me trying to do my best. And I appreciate y'all for tagging along and being with me on this journey. As you already know, I do love you, and I'll see you later. And remember to be kind to everyone you meet, for everyone is fighting a large battle or overcoming some obstacle.